Hey everyone, welcome to episode 2 of Just V Show Chat with me, Ben Corbett. I'm going to start by saying thank you to you. We thought long and hard about how best to engage with you all in a helpful way during lockdown, and the tens of thousands of views for episode 1 last week was the most incredible way for you to send your support back to us. It means so much, and we're delighted that Jack's expertise on non-dig permaculture and growing your own at home was able to help so many of you. It's made us determined to keep producing the best content we possibly can, and with vegan beauty experts, internationally renowned authors, cook-alongs, and a massive vegan society birthday party planned, this is the place to be every Friday at 1 o'clock. So it's Bank Holiday VE Day celebrations today, so what a better time to say we will meet again this autumn in London, so get your free tickets in the video description. But enough of my waffly rambling, let's get on with today's show. In the virtual studio today, we have blogger, writer, photographer, celebrity chef, and TV personality, Romy London. So,
hi, Ben.
hey,
how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. How are you? Thanks so much for coming on. It's great to see you.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I think it's the first time somebody announced me as a celebrity chef. It's quite. I need to mark this day in my diary.
That's what I do. You know, I'm lulling you into a false sense of security before I bring out all my really hard hitting questions. I'm like the Paxman of vegan and vegetarian chat shows. So,
dang.
Yeah. So, let's kick off first of all. I mean, I'm sure most people watching are going to know all about you, but for those that maybe don't know about your work, do you want to just tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Yeah, sure. So, as you probably already have told people, my name's Romy. I run a vegan food blog under Romy London UK. So it's mainly a recipe blog, and I've been running that for, well, technically you could say 5 years, but probably the first 2 years, it wasn't really doing anything proper on there. I've only been really focusing on it for like the last 2 years now. I create a lot of vegan recipes. I've actually been a guest at the Just V Show a couple of times already. I've done some talks there in the last couple of years, which has been great. Some cookery demos as well. And yeah, now I work full-time as a vegan blogger and food photographer. So basically, I just look at food all day, every day.
That sounds brilliant. I'd love to just look at food.
It's great. It's great. It's dangerous sometimes.
So I'm going to let's start off with the lockdown stuff, as you'd expect. In every interview going on every platform about every subject at the moment. So, how are you finding your life and I guess your food philosophy affected by lockdown, if at all?
Well, let's say the beginning was quite difficult because obviously, I mean, I work from home, so I'm lucky that I can work from home and that I don't have to go anywhere normally. But I also need to be able to buy certain food products because when I photograph things or when I create recipes for my own blog or for other people or for brands, I need to have access to a specific type of ingredients. So it's been quite difficult when those supermarkets have been like very low in stock and very long queues to get in. So that's been really difficult for me. But luckily, like all of the people that I work with, they've been quite understanding and were just like very easy with me adapting recipes or changing recipes around to accommodate what I already had at home, which is also very helpful for other people because not everybody has access to everything. So yeah, I guess that was like the more difficult part in the beginning of the whole lockdown situation. But now I honestly have to say I've gotten quite used to it. And I actually enjoy having like a quiet life. And knowing I'm not missing out on anything like outside of my four walls. So it's kind of like a more peaceful feeling at the moment with the lockdown situation. So I mean, other people might feel completely different about it, but this is just how it is for me. I'm also a massive introvert, so maybe that helps.
I think it's funny. I'm wondering how many people are going to live differently afterwards, and I think that it's obviously an awful situation that we're in, and nobody would wish it to happen. But also, absolutely. I just think everyone's going to take some sort of lessons about the way they live, or something that they will appreciate that they didn't before, or something. There's definitely going to be sort of pre-lockdown life and post-lockdown, even when all of the restrictions come off when we've got a vaccine or whatever.
Well, we're
I
finding out
think,
a new normal, basically.
yeah, it's really interesting. And I was listening to something the other day. It was the Louis Theroux podcast with John Ronson, where he was saying that it's the introverts and the people that are maybe more anxious that are actually dealing with this better, because they were sort of expecting it and they were prepared for it. It's the people that have been out carefree all the time that it's really sort of changed their lives, which I just thought, I hadn't even thought about that, but I totally get that. It makes sense.
No, I can completely agree with that. I was very anxious before the lockdown came along, just thinking like, oh my God, what if the lockdown comes? And then kind of the uncertainty of not knowing how it would work and what it would mean. But then once it was in place and I knew exactly, okay, these are the things I can do, these are the things I can't do. Great. Well, I know what I have to do. So, and from then onwards, I started feeling like much more relaxed about it. I mean, of course, there are like lots of other things like going on outside that we don't get to see when we're like staying in our homes all day. But I'm just trying to stay on the positive side. And I've stopped listening to the news too much because I just realized it just drove me crazy, like listening to the news and trying to listen for new updates every single day. And since I stopped doing that, I just feel much better about it. So definitely help with anxiety to avoid that.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think that when there's really, really important news, that gets to you without you needing to necessarily go really searching for it really intensely. So I guess the thing about a vegan lifestyle under lockdown is a lot of other people would have found themselves compromising on what they eat or what they buy, but really being vegan, that's not an option. So we talk about everyone needs to compromise, but a vegan or even a vegetarian or someone like that, that's not an option. So have you found yourself necessarily short of anything, or like I say, compromise isn't an option, but still?
Well, I think the biggest difference is probably that normally I would go to like lots of different shops all over London whenever I'm out and about and like pick up things. Whereas now I only stay in my area and I live in West London. We do have some health food stores, but all of the exciting takeaways I see people post on Instagram, I don't have access to those. They're all in East London.
Oh, what? That sucks.
So like, I mean, there is a little bit of a limit to what I would normally get, or I would wait for like a longer time period to actually come up with like a long list of items that I need, and then cycling to a shop a little bit further away just to be able to get these things. But yeah, it's just not having this easy everyday access to everything that I've had before. Is a little bit more difficult now. But I mean, I'm very lucky. I see myself lucky because I have a couple of supermarkets in walking distance, and I'm able to go there and buy like all of the necessities. And through my job as a food photographer, I always have a lot of food at home anyways. So I guess I'm very, very lucky when it comes to these kind of things and having access to food. So I'm just very grateful that it's worked out so well. I know it's not like that for everyone. So
I mean, and talking about that, I guess how it is for everybody else, like you're really engaged with the community. Have you found anything in particular that people have been asking you for help with, or anything like that? Specific topics that have come up several times?
I mean, I follow a lot of other vegan bloggers online as well. And what has been like really highly requested in the last couple of weeks is just like very simple, easy meals that people can create from leftovers. I think seeing how short the supermarkets were of stock, it also kind of showed people a little bit more that they need to be more resourceful with the kind of things that they have at home and try not to waste anything of the things that they buy. It definitely made me more resourceful because I've literally gone like, okay, like what do I have in my fridge? I need to like organize this all around so that nothing goes to waste. Whereas normal, I would be like, I just don't feel like eating this today. So I don't know, maybe we'll see if it's still fine tomorrow. So yeah, you just get a little bit more careful with that.
Could you give us a couple of examples of sort of things that you throw together with leftovers or something like that? Some practical things that people could do at home, maybe?
Yeah, sure. I've created a super simple red lentil dal the other week. I've done this as an Instagram story takeover on another blogger's account. That is one of the really like simple and easy recipes, just because you only need a handful of ingredients, and most of those are like a tin of coconut milk and a tin of chopped tomatoes and some lentils, and then you're already halfway there. You just need to add some spices to it. I mean, I love dishes like that, like curries and stir fries as well, just because when you have fresh ingredients in your fridge that maybe need to go, you can literally just chuck everything in that your fridge has to give. So those are like my easy go-to recipes in order to create something simple and delicious.
Nice. And you mentioned being engaged with other people's blogs. So other than your own, what are a couple that you would recommend to people for help at this time, giving away some secrets of your competitors?
Yeah, sure. My friend Claire from the Little London Vegan, she's really great. She normally posts a lot about vegan restaurants and new vegan menus at restaurants. So at the moment, she's obviously not being able to go to any restaurants. So she's kind of showing people like all of the online stores, like vegan online stores that are still available for delivery or that are still accepting new customers, or also showing like the vegan takeaways that you can get in different areas of London at the moment. So she's really great at kind of showing what people can do. She also posts a bunch of recipes that she creates right now. So it's really fun.
Nice.
Okay, I think she's a really
cool.
good resource.
No, it sounds good and definitely something everyone should check out by the sound of it. So we've got a question from Julie. She says, and this will probably sort of round off our lockdown chat and we can go on to more sort of nice stuff. Julie says, what's the first thing you're going to do when this is all over?
I think I know very well what the first thing will be. I will travel all the way across London to Homerton, to the Spread Eagle, to have a vegan brunch there. And I've posted this on my story this week because I've been there literally 10 days before the lockdown. And I was looking through photos on my phone the other day and I found this video of like their pancakes with like vegan like chicken on the top and like maple chili sauce. And then I was like, I want that right now.
It's so funny.
Gonna wait a little bit.
I've done the same when you look at what you were doing sort of just over a month ago, and it's like, God, if I realized this was going to be the last time I did this for a while, I'd have appreciated it more. Or people that you saw and didn't realize it was the last time you were going to see them for a long time, stuff like that. I just, it seemed so surreal at the time that I just don't think any of us realized how I don't know, how much gravitas it was going to have and how much it was going to affect all our lives. So I'm sure we're all going to be going out and doing all those brilliant things that we were doing 6 weeks ago. So how long have you lived in London?
It's been almost 8 years now. It's gone very quick.
Yeah, cool. And
it's been a while.
People can get like a lot of advice on things to do once they're out of lockdown from your blog, right? About places to go,
probably.
Stuff like that. Yeah, I imagine so. Okay, cool. So earlier on in the year, you were on TV on Channel 4's Crazy Delicious show. So how did that come about, and how was your experience doing that?
Yeah, it was actually like coming about of this show was like quite interesting because it all started with an Instagram message. And I actually first thought it was spam. It's quite funny.
So they approached you?
Yeah, they approached me. I know that I found out afterwards that they've been advertising online as well, but just because I wasn't connected to any of the people producing it, I didn't see that beforehand. No, they approached me and just asked if I would be interested in having a chat with them, and I went to a casting then afterwards, and apparently that went well. So I was invited to be on the show, and I was actually the only vegan in the entire show, so it was quite interesting to cook against some non-vegan contestants.
So it was like a cooking competition sort of thing with judges? Like, what was the format of the show?
Exactly. So the format was basically that in every episode, there were 3 different chefs. Everybody had to cook in 3 rounds, so 3 different topics. And then there were, everything's a round of 3. There was like 3 judges. They were called the food gods, who had to then judge the food and pick a winner afterwards. And as the show is called Crazy Delicious, it wasn't like normal regular dishes. It was all supposed to be very extravagant and very crazy flavor combinations, very crazy ways of how the food is demonstrated and everything like that. So it's definitely been very interesting.
And who were the judges?
Heston Blumenthal was one of them, which is probably the one that people will know most in the UK. Then there was also Carla Hall. She's done MasterChef in the US. And then Niklas Ekstedt. He's a Swedish celebrity chef.
Okay, cool. How was it cooking for Heston? Was it nerve-wracking?
To be honest, I mean, just to be completely honest, because I I didn't grow up in the UK. So I didn't grow up knowing who Heston is. And
Okay.
then when I did the show, when I was invited into the show, I obviously looked into like, okay, who are these people? I was like, oh, I know this guy. I've seen his face before. I just didn't remember his name. But for me, kind of like, it was like, well, yeah, okay, apparently this guy's famous, but I don't really know him. Like, I didn't grow up knowing what he was cooking or creating. And I only got interested in food after I went vegan. So I wasn't massively starstruck or anything like this. So for me, it was just like, well, he's a chef. Great. I'm just going to cook for him. I'm just going to do my thing here. It's not, I guess it's a little bit different when you grow up knowing somebody from your TV and seeing the shows that they're doing, and then you actually get to meet that person. It's probably a little bit different. But no, I think this was the better way around for my nerves.
Yeah, I reckon it's probably best. If you'd known his work before, you'd have felt pressure to make your food like explode or smoke or something crazy like that.
I watched a couple of his shows before going on the show, just so I had an idea, you know, what he's like and what kind of stuff he creates. But no, I really, really liked him. He's really nice, really down to earth, and really, really lovely guy. So it's been really great to cook for him.
Nice. Okay.
And I'm not just saying this because I get paid for it.
No, he comes across nicely on the show. Actually, like he's not an evil judge.
He's very normal. He doesn't come across like he's putting on a face for the camera. So that's really great.
That's cool. One of the things you said actually brings me on to our question from Jack last week. So what I'm trying to do across the series is what I'm calling the question train. So every guest asks a question for next week's guest. And we had Jack, our urban farmer, on last week, who is showing people how to start growing their own veg at home and stuff. You can still catch that episode, by the way, on our channels. But he asked you an interesting sort of question, and it made me think of it when you said that you didn't cook as much and weren't as interested in food before you became vegan. And what he basically said was, is there a particular sort of ingredient or something that you cook and rave about now as a vegan that before you were vegan you never really thought about, and now you're like, why wasn't I using this all the time my whole life?
Honestly, there's such a long list of things I never ate before. Even just, you know, like different types of fruits, different types of vegetables. Tofu. I mean, I did eat tofu every now and then before, but very rarely. It just completely changed my taste buds. I never liked Asian food before, and I literally had like between 10 and 15 different dishes that I would eat on rotation before. And I don't know, when I went vegan, it just kind of opened my eyes to see that there's so much more out there. So it's difficult to kind of pin it down to one particular item because there's literally so much. Like, I'd never eaten butternut squash before, which is like really random and really weird. But like, my mom just never bought squash. Like, she never cooked squash. So I didn't really know what that was like, for example. Or, I mean, tofu a lot. I eat a lot of tofu and I love tofu, which even before when I had it, I didn't really know how to prepare it, to be honest. So those are like a couple of things that I really changed. And cuisine, like, completely. I used to eat like Italian and American and German cuisine quite a lot, but now I'm absolutely obsessed with anything Asian. So
yeah, nice. One more, but we're going to come back to the topic of tofu in a sec, but just one question that's come in. So Nicole said, did you feel pressure being the representative of vegans on Crazy Delicious?
Yes, definitely. I did feel pressured. I mean, it was, on the one hand, you kind of think like, well, I don't want to let like the other vegans down by doing a bad job. And then having other people say, well, of course it doesn't taste great because it's vegan, blah, blah, blah. Because you never know what people are going to say. I kind of expected comments like this to come. So that you have quite a bit of pressure, because on the one hand, you want to showcase that vegan food can be just as great. And obviously it's difficult when you're the only vegan and you're cooking. Like, one of the tasks I was cooking involved cheese. So I obviously had to make my own vegan cheese, and you just can't compare like dairy cheese with vegan cheese. Like, vegan cheese is great, but it's different. It's not exactly the same. And I wouldn't want it to be exactly the same, if I'm fairly honest.
I think one of the lines that I hate hearing is, it's quite good for vegan food, or it's quite good for free from food. You hear quite a lot as well. Like, it's one of those things, and it's like, it's not what you want to hear, is it?
Exactly. It's like, as soon as people see vegan or free from on the packaging, like, they automatically think like, oh, of course it doesn't taste 100% great.
Yeah.
I mean, from the show, I kind of got prepared for a lot of trolls. I kind of expected that to come, just because firstly, I'm the only vegan on a non-vegan show, and I have pink eyebrows, so I already knew, well, this is just gonna go mad. But I was really, really surprised. Like, all of the feedback has been really, really positive. And I was on the day that my episode aired, I was actually scared of going onto Twitter, thinking, oh my God, there's going to be such horrible comments on there. But I didn't find a single one. I was like,
oh, that's so nice.
This is great.
So are you someone that's sort of quite affected by sort of those negative comments online? I guess it's something you have to deal with quite a lot.
I guess it depends. It depends. Like, if it's like comments that I expected, then I don't care, because then I'm like, well, of course people are going to say this. But if it's like something completely out of the blue that you don't expect, or like from a person that you don't expect it to come from, then it can be quite, like, I mean, even if people say they're not affected by anything that other people say about them, secretly you always are. And it's like, even if you're trying not to be, I mean, I'm trying to stay positive about it. And even if somebody messages me something negative, if I realize they're just a troll and they're just there to like stir some drama, then I don't even acknowledge it, and I just don't respond to it. But I do, like, just to be like completely honest, I do still get annoyed sometimes when I see like comments, especially when it's something when I can kind of tell, okay, this person didn't actually fully look into this and they're just making assumptions. But then I already know, like, what's not worth responding to it. It's just going to become an argument, and I don't have time for that. So so like 99% of the time, I don't even respond. So
yeah, I think that's the best way. Yeah, I absolutely agree. I cannot see any positive thing that could come from responding to a negative comment online. Even like on a much smaller scale, if I see someone write something on Facebook that I disagree with or something like that, and I see other people sort of wading in, I'm like, what am I'm going to have some sort of back and forth with someone about politics over like 3 days on Facebook. It's just madness.
Especially when it's a stranger. I'm just like, well, why am I supposed to discuss this with a stranger? Like, they don't know me. They don't know my full story. I don't know their full story. End off. So
that's such a good way of looking at it. I actually used to be a teacher, and one of the weird things was, obviously you'd get kids being really, really mean to you sometimes. And the way that I used to deal with it is just sometimes I was an okay teacher. They sort of liked me. But anyway, the occasion that it did happen, I would always just think they don't actually know me. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, no matter what they're saying, I'm like a representative of something that they're looking at. But in truth, they don't know me like really, really, really personally, to be able to even make this sort of judgment. And that's a really nice way of being able to sort of depersonalize something like that and be less affected
that's
by
true.
it, I think
that's true.
But yeah, cool. Right, so let's move on to what are you doing at the moment. Tell us about what exciting things you've got going on.
Yeah, sure. Well, I'm creating a lot of content at the moment. I'm creating a lot of recipes. And when the lockdown happened and my work actually got a little bit quiet for a couple of weeks, I decided to put my effort into something slightly different. And I wrote a little ebook. Nice. I wrote a tofu ebook just to get back to the tofu again, full round.
Amazing.
So yeah, I just kind of see that. I mean, I'm in a lot of Facebook groups about like vegan recipes and stuff like this. And I see literally every day there's at least one post about somebody like asking, like, I have this tofu, like, can somebody tell me how to make this taste great? I already tried and it just doesn't taste good. So it seems that a lot of people, whether they're already vegan or whether they're trying to become vegan or vegetarian, are struggling to make tofu taste great. So I just kind of thought to myself, you know what, I'm just going to create a little tofu guide, and I'll write down, like, some basics and show a couple of different techniques of how to make tofu taste great. And that's basically what I've done in the last month. And it's just gone live a week and a half ago.
By the wonders of modern technology, I'm actually able to show you guys what this beautiful looking book actually looks like. And where can people get
the cover color-wise?
It's nice. It's nice. Was that on purpose?
That's why I put this shirt. Yeah, of course.
So where can people get your ebook?
So my ebook is actually free. So I'm giving it away for free, just kind of like as a helpful resource for people to handle their tofu properly. You can get it on my website, which is basically just romylondonuk.com. So even if you wanted to find me anywhere, I'm literally Romy London UK everywhere. So super easy. So yeah, you can get this for free over there. If you sign up to my mailing list, you automatically get an email out and you can receive the whole book with all of the recipes.
I'm gonna make you choose between your children right now by saying what's your favorite recipe in the book. Let's have a closer look at one of them. What's your favorite one for us to look at now?
Well, I do really like. I mean, one of the recipes is the crispy fried tofu, and that's like quite a basic. Yeah, that's in the beginning of it because that's quite a basic technique. And with that, you can then go into like other recipes and then use the crispy fried tofu in other recipes. So this is probably one of the ones that I make the most just because it's a very basic one. And, you know, I can add different types of sauces to it and I can create a completely different dish out of that. So I love that technique. If I had to pick an overall favorite, I really like the KFC style tofu. Like the one that I made there, it's like little crispy popcorn bites and it doesn't have 12 but 11 herbs and spices in it. I didn't figure out the last one.
It probably wasn't vegan anyway. That's their problem.
Probably not.
That's why it ended up as 11.
Exactly. No, but it's just really delicious. But it's the kind of thing that, you know, I've deep fried it on this occasion. You can make it in an oven as well, just to use a little bit less oil. But if you want it to be like perfectly crispy, obviously deep frying is the best option. So for me, that's kind of like a special occasion recipe, but it's just so delicious. As you can see, I drizzled like sriracha sauce all over it, so it was quite spicy. But it really
looks amazing. The book looks amazing. The photography looks beautiful. It makes everything so tasty and so nice. I'm definitely going to be having a look at it. And the fact that you're giving it away for free is just amazing. So yeah, people should definitely find that and people should definitely check that out. You say thank you, we say thank you. Okay, all good. Right, so I will drop that out now. There you go. There we are. Okay, cool. So thanks for coming on today. I just need to wrap up that's all right. Wrap up by saying we've got Nicole, Vegan Beauty Girl, on next week. And we're going to keep our question train going. So do you have a question for me to ask Nicole next week?
Of course I do. I know Nicole's been vegan for quite some time, but I wonder if she remembers what her last non-vegan meal was before she went vegan.
Interesting. Interesting. And I wonder if she's been able to recreate that taste and that thing that she had beforehand. Okay, brilliant. That's a really interesting question. I wouldn't have dared ask her that, so thanks. That's perfect. That's exactly what
I don't know if she remembers, because I think she's been vegan for like 13 years or so. Long time.
Well, hopefully she's watching, so maybe she can give it some thought and ask the people around her that might have been there. Awesome. Brilliant. Well, I'm just going to say thanks very much to you for being a brilliant guest. I knew you were going to be, and encourage everyone who hasn't already to find you on Instagram and check out your tofu recipe ebook. Thanks a lot, Romy.
Perfect. Thanks so much, Ben.
No worries. No worries. So, next week, as we said, we have Vegan Beauty Girl, Nicole Whittle. I'm sure Nicole's going to be great fun and that I won't be at all out of my comfort zone talking about beauty products. So please get your cruelty-free questions in and make sure that you're here next Friday at 1 p.m. In the meantime, if you have any news, stories, tips, or questions for future guests, you can email them to us using the address info@f2fevents.co.uk or get in contact on social media. We can't wait to see you guys in the autumn. You can get your tickets for our London show in the video description. So until next week, stay home and stay safe. Cheers, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.